Yes, hello everyone. Welcome to the live stream today. We're going to be talking about how to sync your intermittent fasting, your time restricted eating schedule to the seasons. I'm going to be changing my fasting schedule now that we're in spring and fall because the sunlight based on circadian rhythm. So it should be a really interesting live stream. And I really want to just thank everyone for showing up. I know it's Easter Sunday, which is incredible. After this live stream, I'm heading over to my brother's. My son's coming home from college, which is amazing. I'll see my parents, so it's really going to be just a great day. I just had a little thing there on the YouTube, so I appreciate everybody showing up. Hopefully everything will go smooth. I just had a new internet connection put in yesterday in the home, so I hope everything is broadcast okay. Any issues, please let me know. So let's jump right into it. What's the best seasonal fasting schedule now that we're going into spring and we're going into summer? So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about what circadian rhythm is. Even though you guys, I know a lot of the regulars have probably heard me talk about this. We're going to talk about early time restricted eating versus late, or maybe normally more traditional time restricted eating. Then we're going to go over my new schedule, what I plan on doing. I'm going to start that on Monday. I'm going to start it tomorrow, my new schedule. And then I'll kind of really break down what this new schedule is, which is going to be a little bit more of a traditional late time restricted eating. It's funny because sometimes when I look at these slides, I see my dyslexia right there. See how I did TER? It's really time restricted eating. I should have did TRE. It's so funny, but at least I spotted it now. So it's going to be 1862 mad protein shakes. Plus, we're going to talk about these essential amino acids. I have one of these left. I know Jeff was buying these as well. These are we'll go into all this stuff in the live stream. But thanks. Just give me a thumbs up. Make sure everyone's here. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing any comments, guys. So hopefully everything is going through okay. And I'm assuming that the sound and everything is good. If it isn't, just leave a comment. Just let me know. Because typically I'll see comments on the main screen and I'm not seeing anything, so I hope everything's coming through. But I think we got about 7 or 8 people showing up on this Easter Sunday, which is so great. Okay, so let's go into. Okay, everything sounds good. Oh, thanks. It's funny because I'm only seeing these comments on my phone. I'm not seeing them on my computer, so hopefully it'll work out okay. And Darlene is here too. Sounds good. Oh, thanks, guys. There we go. Now I can pull them in. Thanks so much. And there's Darlene, which is great. Thanks. Okay, sounds great. Okay, let's go over what circadian rhythm is, and initially why I started having some food or having my first meal at 10 a.m. And it really was based on circadian rhythm. Me and my wife, I'll give you my backstory again, started this intermittent fasting, time restricted eating thing, well over 12 years ago. And the first book I read was the Eat Stop Eating book, which recommended doing a 24-hour fast once or twice per week. I felt that was too aggressive for me 12 years ago. So I fell more into a traditional 16-8 fasting schedule where you fast for 16 hours, then you give yourself an 8-hour eating window. And there was a very, very popular site for weightlifters and bodybuilders. It still is back 12, 13 years ago. It was called Lean Gains. Pretty much you put on muscle, but you keep your body fat level low, Lean Gains. And the guy who ran the site, he was a big believer in 16-8. So I started doing 16-8. I had my wife started doing it. I started putting my clients on, and we typically always skip breakfast. It just was the easy thing to do. You wake up in the morning, you have your black coffee, you have your green tea, you stay hydrated, and then you break your fast 12 o'clock, done eating by 8 p.m. And I did that for a decade, even though I experimented with different things, and I really did like it. Oh, hey, thanks for showing up. I really appreciate it. It's funny, my daughter's calling me right now. I hope everything's okay with her. Let me see. I'm sure it is. She probably just wants to wish us happy Easter. So then, but now based on this new, a lot of the new research, which we're going to talk about in this live stream, and based on circadian rhythm, it does seem like it probably makes most sense when it comes to maintaining muscle mass, and when it comes to taking in calories, when it comes to processing glucose and controlling blood sugar, to take in calories earlier in the day. And so let me first go over what circadian rhythm is, and then I'll break this down a little bit better. Your circadian rhythm is basically your 24-hour internal clock. And it regulates just about every processing in the body. It regulates hormones, right? Regulates your metabolism, your genes, pretty much everything. And what controls your circadian rhythm are a number of things. First of all, the time you wake up in the morning, the time you go to sleep at night, right? The time, like the first time when sunlight hits your eyes. That's why I love to take my walks first thing in the morning with unprotected, like now with sunglasses, now with sunscreen, because I want to jumpstart my circadian rhythm. The time of days in which you eat, and that's the big one when it comes to time-restricted eating or intermittent fasting. The time that you first eat your first meal, specifically more protein, can be really good for like setting and controlling your metabolism, controlling your hormones. That's why if you notice my this last sentence in blue, eating a late breakfast is good for circadian rhythm. So I kind of about, I don't know, maybe now it's maybe definitely all winter, I don't know, maybe 7-8 months ago, I switched over to more of an early time restricted eating schedule. And one of the reasons was based on this study. There was this study, and actually I came across this study, and I'm shouting out the same guy again, Andrew 𝘾𝙊𝘾𝙃 from 𝘾𝙊𝘾𝘾𝙃 Labs, the professor from Stanford. He did the similar thing. He started looking at the research because he was doing more what I was doing, skipping breakfast. And there really is some pretty good research out there saying that it's good to take in protein earlier in the day when it comes to maintaining your muscle mass, or actually improving your muscle mass. And that's like key to me. Since I own a gym, I'm into resistance training. Obviously, you guys all follow me, so you know that I'm really into lifting weights and maintaining my muscle mass as I age. So the fact that I was skipping breakfast for all that time, I wanted to start taking in some protein around 10 o'clock. So I switched over to more of an early time restricted eating. I even did a live stream about a year ago, and I listed a whole bunch of studies. There's so many studies just talking about how bad it is to eat late at night. And I'm not talking 7, 8 o'clock. I mean 9, 10 o'clock. It's just, you can't eat food and then go to sleep. You need 2-3 hours to digest and process the food. It's so bad for blood sugar, bad for so many different responses within the body when you're eating late at night. So I said, let me try this early time restricted eating. I tried it in the past when my kids were home, and it never worked for me because I always liked eating dinner with my wife and my kids, and we would typically eat dinner 7:30. My wife works, she commuted, and we couldn't eat dinner until 7:30 every evening. So the fact that my kids are already at college, for the last 7-8 months, I've been enjoying the early time restricted eating. I have to say, taking in some calories and some protein earlier in the day was making my resistance training workouts better, that's for sure. And I do think that maybe I put on a little bit of muscle. So I did like it. But what's happening now, that's the gist of this entire presentation. What's happening now is that since we changed the clocks, in the US, and since it's getting like darker much later, I don't really like this early time restricted eating, and that's going to be the gist of this whole presentation today. I find that, based on your circadian rhythm, I don't like being done with dinner at like 6 o'clock, and then it's not going to get dark till 8 o'clock. I like to take a walk later in the day. So what I'm going to do, and you'll see, I'm going to break it down in great detail. I'm going to switch more over to more of a traditional late time restricted eating schedule, along with doing a couple of different hacks, like taking some essential amino acids at around 10 o'clock to get the best of both worlds. But I'll explain it really well, as we go. But let's see, I think because some other people here, hey Patel, hey, happy Easter, same to you. Happy Easter, Mike, and everyone here. I had a nice Easter egg as a treat today. It's 6:20 p.m. here in London. Oh, really cool. That's great. Thanks for showing up. And Biff is here too. Mike, good to see you. So, thanks for showing up, Biff. I really appreciate it. That's great. Thanks for showing up too. I really appreciate it. So like I said, it's probably better to eat earlier due to your circadian rhythm. But like I said, it has to fit into your lifestyle. So if you're in a part of the world where, it's not getting dark later in the day, I know there's different parts of the world that, the circadian rhythm is all different. You don't necessarily have to change you don't necessarily have to change your schedule. The ideal schedule, I would say, probably is taking in some calories that as soon as you wake up, waiting a couple hours, maybe 90 minutes, taking in some protein, taking in some calories then, and then being done relatively early in the evening. If you can be done by 6 o'clock and give yourself like 4 or 5 hours before you go to sleep, that's probably the best schedule. But for me, it's not going to work in the spring and summer, right? Because you're going to see, I want to take that walk. I love taking a walk around 6 o'clock when it's still light out. I get back from my walk around 7. I'll probably be eating dinner 7:30, but I'll break it down a little better for you. So here's the winter early time restricted eating meal plan. This is what I was doing in the winter, exactly what I was doing. So I was doing a 16-8, and everyone knows my favorite fasting schedule is 2 meals a day plus a protein shake or protein bar. So what I typically was doing in the wintertime is I wake up in the morning, I drink a big glass of water. Sometimes I squeeze a little lemon, half a lemon in the water. I know that's somewhat debatable. I did some videos on that. People said, oh, Mike, you're breaking your fast. You know, some studies have shown that lemon juice does low blood sugar. I don't think I'm breaking my fast. What if there's maybe 2 calories in half a lemon? So in my mind, I think there's more benefit to squeezing half a lemon in some Pellegrino mineral water. You know, I really enjoy it. You get some vitamin C. It can help control blood sugar, just like apple cider vinegar. So I love doing that. Then I'll have a couple of cups of maybe espresso. And then I typically, unless I have a client like 6 in the morning, I go right out for like a 30, 45 minute walk in a fasted state. Set my circadian rhythm and get the sunlight. I absolutely love it. Plus, good for my mental health. I just love it. You know, I just read some quotes from a friend of mine saying how, you know, walking pretty much can fix anything. You know, bad mood, you take a walk, you feel better. You got a problem, you take a walk, you figure it out. I'm such a big believer in walking. So around 10 o'clock, in the wintertime, I was having my first meal, prioritizing protein. A lot of times I would take up to 60 grams of protein at 10 in the morning. I typically worked out around 1 in the afternoon, which I typically do my resistance training around 1, even though I walked in the morning, taking another 30 grams of protein. And then I was having my last meal around 5:30, 60 grams of protein or more, and then no food after 6 o'clock at night. And I like that schedule. I had great results with it. It's probably what I would consider probably the best possible schedule you can go on. But in New York, you know, it's already, in the wintertime, it was already dark at 6 o'clock. It was getting dark at 4:30, 5 o'clock. So, you know, I go to sleep earlier in the wintertime. You know, not eating at 6 o'clock is no big deal to me in the winter. But now that we changed the clocks, and before you know it, it's going to be light till 8, 8:30, I know the schedule is just not going to work for me. I know it isn't. Hey. Okay, I just found you and have been watching lots of your videos. I have been learning so much from you. Happy yourself. Thanks so much. Thanks for showing up. That's great. I have to say, all these short videos that I've been doing, I'm really getting introduced to a lot of new people, which I love. I find it really fun, which is great. Okay, so let's go over now, like what I'm going to do. So my whole deal, now that I'm switching back to a little bit more traditional, later time restricted eating, intermittent fasting schedule, I still want to do a little bit of a hack, because I still want to take in some protein, some amino acids earlier in the day. So let's talk about amino acids first. Amino acids are the building blocks of protein, right? The key amino acids you always want to take are those 9 essential amino acids, meaning that out of the 20 amino acids that are good for protein synthesis, 9 of them are essential, that you have to eat them in your diet. Your body can't produce them. You know, there are non-essential amino acids which the body can make. There are conditional ones which the body can make unless the body's under a lot of stress. But you want to get those non-essential amino acids. And the main ones you want are those branched chain aminos, which is leucine, isoleucine, valine. Those are the ones that really help put on muscle. And it can be very confusing supplements. Like, for example, if you did a scoop of, say, whey protein powder, which is probably my favorite protein powder supplement. And the reason why I like it so much is because it's really high in those essential amino acids, in those branched chain amino acids. Like a scoop of whey protein, which is about 120 calories, can have 3,000 milligrams of leucine. And that's what you want when it comes to maintaining and putting on muscle. You want like a good amount of leucine. The only problem is it does have 120 calories. Plus, whey protein can be somewhat high glycemically. It can give you a pretty good spike in insulin, especially if it's an isolate, meaning it doesn't have any fat, it doesn't have any, anything else in it. If you take a little fat with it, you're taking more of a whey protein concentrate, the glycemic response might be a little bit less, but it's still going to give you a good spike in insulin. But what you can do, and this is what I plan on doing, is you can take a supplement that just has those 9 essential amino acids. And I was taking this one for a while. It was on sale. Unfortunately, it ran out of, I think these guys may have even gone out of business. Here you can see, but there's so many other ones. I think Jeff is really into it. I don't know if Jeff sees today. He may not be with Easter. See, these are branched chain essential amino acids. And what it is, when it comes to the amino acid, is kind of like getting a scoop of that whey protein isolate. And this supplement is plant-based. Most of them are plant-based. So if you're a vegetarian or vegan, they're actually really good to take. Now, like as opposed to taking a whey protein, which is 120 calories, these essential aminos almost have no calories. It can be a little confusing when you look at a label of an essential amino acid supplement, or even a branched chain amino acid supplement, because 90% of the time it'll say no calories, even though there are. Like legally, when it comes to labeling these ingredients, the fact that these ingredients are separate, like it's not a complete food, it's not like a complete protein, like a whey protein, which is like a dairy, they don't have to list the calories. So even though I'm getting probably as much amino acids of those branched chain as a scoop of whey protein, 120 calories, this is probably, and I actually did a consult with a someone who manufactures these, and he was telling me, you know, maybe 15 calories or so, a nice scoop of an essential amino. So technically, is it breaking your fast if you're taking in 10, 15 calories? Yes, but I don't think, it's going to give you a little spike in insulin and you're going to slightly break your fast, but I think it's definitely worth it. So what I'm going to do this spring and this summer is 10 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to do a scoop of those essential amino acids. So I'm going to get, for like 15 calories, maybe 20 the most, I'm going to get the equivalent of eating like 25, 30 grams of protein. And I know technically I might be breaking the fast, but I think the benefit's really going to outweigh any type of negative effect. And insulin will drop back down to me because I'm pretty insulin sensitive. Then we got a couple. Hey, Alexander's here. Thanks for showing up. Hey, Mike. You recommended taking daily protein shake, but what size should the protein shake be exactly? Okay, well, it's going to be based on how much protein you're taking in for the whole day. I forget all your numbers, Alexander, but you know my recommendation, you want to go like 0.7 grams of protein per pound of body weight. I think you can even go 1 gram per pound of body weight. So let's say you're 120 pounds, you want to eat 120 grams of protein. You don't want to take it all in one meal if possible. You want to spread it out, like I say, 2 meals plus a protein shake. You know, 1 scoop of my favorite protein powder, which is a brand called Garden of Life. If you look me up on Amazon, you Google 𝘾𝙊𝘼𝘾 Amazon, you'll see my recommended protein list, you know, on Amazon. I like the Garden of Life, the whey protein grass-fed. I also like the plant-based one. They have a really good plant-based one, which is really high in those essential amino acids as well. If you did 1 scoop, Alexander, which will be 120 calories, you get 24 grams of protein. You know, so for example, let's say your goal is to get 100 grams of protein for the day. If you're eating, you know, every 4 ounces of chicken, fish, or meat, 25 grams of protein. Let's say you have like a 5 ounces of shrimp, you're going to get, say, 40 grams of protein, right? Let's say you're also going to have like 4 ounces of a piece of red meat or a piece of chicken in the evening. That's like 30 grams of protein. At 70, you want to get to 90, you want to get to, 95, you do 1 scoop of a whey protein. That's going to give you 25 grams, you're there. Or you can do, like I say, I also love these, I have one here, I haven't eaten it today, I'm going to do the OMAD today for sure, because I already walked this morning on the treadmill because I was a little tight on time with Easter. Then I'm heading over to my brother, so I may eat this on the car ride over there, and then have like an OMAD meal. I like these too, 21 grams of protein. This would be like a scoop of whey protein isolate, but this is a plant-based protein bar, but it is a complete protein, so it has pea and brown rice, which makes it a complete protein. So it really depends, Alexandra, on how much protein you're taking in each meal, how much of a scoop. And you can even do 2 scoops of protein powder if it's just a light animal protein day for you, right? And if you want to go more vegetarian, vegan, you can do like the plant-based protein powder, which is like a hemp seed or a pea. Just make sure it's a complete protein. I always talked about collagen. I love collagen protein powder too. Good for your skin, hair, and nails, but it's not a complete protein. It's missing tryptophan. So just keep that in mind, because I do like collagen protein as well for skin, hair, nails. You see, every protein source has a different amino acid profile. That's why you may have heard me say like whey proteins, like the Rockstar protein powders, because it's high in those branched chain aminos. Even though collagen I like, but I would take collagen for my skin, hair, and my nails more for like putting on muscle and maintaining muscle mass, even though it's good for connective tissue too, right? Hey, Chris, happy Easter. Thanks for showing up so much. Hey, Harriet's here. I'm watching. Oh, thanks, Harriet. Thanks so much for showing up. That's going to be great. Okay, so there we go. So that's the big hack when it comes to me switching over to more of a late time restricted eating. At 10 o'clock, I'm going to do an essential amino acid supplement. And this one's gone. I think Jeff was, and I've done the 𝘾𝙊𝘼𝘾 brand too, that Ben Greenfield's supplement company. I think he has a good one, but somewhat expensive. Google, look around and look for like a good quality essential amino acid supplement. I think a general rule is if you can get 1 serving for $1 or less, I think it's reasonably priced. You can even find it for 50 cents on sale now and then. Okay, but I wouldn't pay $2 a serving for the essential amino acid supplement. Look for about $1, when it comes to like pricing it out. Okay, and then what I'm going to do around, so I'm going to go more now with an 18.6 as opposed to a 16.8. That was always kind of my favorite because I'm taking that essential amino acid supplement in the morning. And this can be a little confusing here too. Around 1:30, I'm going to have my first meal in the afternoon. And I'm going to lean more towards 60 grams of protein. Now, this is when it can get a little confusing. I generally like to work out around 12 o'clock. So when it comes to an 18.6, it may even be a 17.7, I'm going to be somewhere around there because I like to do a pre or post workout shake all the time, or eat a no-carb bar either right before my workout, or sometimes I'll make a protein shake. And I even put some other supplements in the protein shake too, which I've talked about. I like to put things that increase nitric oxide. So I like to put beetroot powder. I'll put a tablespoon of beetroot powder because beets are high in nitrates, which convert to nitric oxide, which vasodilates, great for blood flow. It gives me a much better pump in the gym. And I also like to put about 6 grams of L-citrulline. So back to the amino acids. L-citrulline is a non-essential amino acid, which helps the body make arginine. I know this gets a little confusing, which helps the body make nitric oxide. So 2 different mechanisms to increase nitric oxide. When you get older, nitric oxide goes down. So it's really important. Older guys, gals have a hard time getting a great pump in the gym. And a lot of the reason is because their nitric oxide levels are low. So I'll do like a beetroot powder, a tablespoon, 6 grams of L-citrulline, and maybe 1 scoop of a whey protein isolate. And that could even be pre, post, or sometimes I do it as an intra-workout drink. Sometimes I really like drinking a little bit of the protein shake before, maybe 40 minutes before. Then I like to drink it during the workout too. I think it helps me with recovery and protein synthesis too. And what I also like about the that whey protein isolate by Garden of Life, they also give you a lot of glutamine in it. And glutamine is an amino acid, which is really good for recovery as well too. Let's see, Alexandria. Okay. What if I took a whey protein shake containing 50 grams of protein? Is that too much for 1 serving? I don't think so. I know you're not that big of a gal, so I would put that at the upper limits of what I would want you to take. And also, just keep in mind, you have to make sure your stomach can process it. See, I'm personally lactose intolerant, so I can take a whey protein isolate. I can't take a concentrated, upsets my stomach. I think you can go 50 grams as long as you can process it, Alexandra, as long as it doesn't. But I wouldn't go much beyond that. Because if you're taking in, say, like 100 grams of protein, I'd rather you split it up in 2 meals in a shake, just to space it out throughout whether you're doing an 8-hour eating window or 6-hour eating window. I know it's very debatable how much protein you can absorb, within per meal. People used to think it was always 30 grams, but that's been pretty much debunked and disproven. It's more important how much protein you take in throughout the entire day, but you still can't really store protein, amino acids. There is an amino acid pool. For example, like your muscles are an amino acid pool. So for example, if you're eating, let's say you've been eating a lot of animal protein and then you say, oh, I want to be a vegetarian for 2 weeks, and then you haven't been eating complete protein. Now you can pull amino acids, those essential aminos, from your muscle, which you don't really want to do, but you can. Even from your intestines and the lining of your intestines, there's amino acids. But since you really can't store protein, I would rather you spread your protein out throughout whatever that eating window is. So if it's an 8-hour eating window, in the beginning of the window, the first meal of the day and the last meal of the day are most important for eating protein, because you're repairing, it's that growth to recovery, like we talked about before, that like mTOR to AMPK, when you're recovering and mTOR's low and you've been repairing and resting and say you're in a fasted state, you want to spike that mTOR. You want to spike growth with a nice protein meal first meal, and then you want a protein meal for your last meal. So when you go to sleep at night, you have amino acids to rebuild and fix things. So I would say that I think that would be the upper limits. I would say for you would be 50 grams. Okay, let's see what we got now. Okay, then. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to switch over to back to my favorite schedule. I mean, maybe not the best, but my favorite works for my lifestyle now in the winter. Is I'm going to have dinner around 7:30 p.m. Once again, 60 grams of protein. I try to eat about 150 grams of protein a day. So I'm going to do that essential amino acid supplement 10 in the morning, which is going to be like taking in 30 grams of protein, 25 grams of protein with almost no calories. Right? Then I'm going to have my first meal around 1:30, probably post-workout, 60 grams of protein there. Then I do another 60 grams of protein, which is 120, for dinner. Then I do my protein shake, which is probably 20-30, which brings me at 150. So the essential aminos are just like a little bit of a bonus. And technically, Am I breaking my fast? A little bit, but I'm gonna do this for the spring and the summer. It really works for me, I think, because I'm gonna start doing my late day walks. I love taking a walk around 6-7 o'clock. I absolutely love like 6-6:30. I'm gonna take a walk. Let's go to the next slide. I think the next slide I broke down my typical day. This will be like the perfect day for me. What messes me up a little bit is sometimes I do have clients 6 in the morning, or sometimes I have to drive to a client's house and have a 6-6:30 client. But let's assume on a day where it just, I can do this. This is my favorite like life schedule. If I can actually be walking and watch the sun come up, and then walk later in the day and watch the sun go down, I mean, that's like a vacation day for me. So a typical day for me will be, and this will be like my seasonal fasting, healthy lifestyle, like workout schedule. Wake up in the morning. The first thing I'll do is have my water. I'll drink my Pellegrino water. A lot of times I'll squeeze half a lemon into it. Drink my black coffee. Lately I've been doing espresso ever since I got back from Italy, which was an incredible trip. Then I'll go take a fasted walk, 30 to 60 minutes. I'll walk fasted, once again, circadian rhythm. No glasses on, no sunscreen. I want the sunlight to hit my eyes. Plus, I think a little bit of vitamin D from the sun is really good for you, for sure. 10 o'clock, get back from my walk. Typically, I'll have a client or two to train then. I'll do my essential amino acid supplement around 10 o'clock, right? Just to make sure I'm not going to be losing any muscle mass or anything like that. So I'll make the sacrifice of taking in 15 calories. I'm going to have a protein shake as my pre-workout shake, or intra-workout shake, or post-workout shake, taking about 30 grams of protein again. I like to do my resistance training midday. I don't do resistance training every day, but maybe 4 days out of the week. Then I'm going to have my post-workout meal, which is my first meal of the day. And once again, the next slide, I'm going to pull in all the meals that I've been eating. Once again, lately, taking 60 grams of protein, and I always prioritize fiber. Like, my meal structure. I like to do a nice big piece of animal protein. I lean towards pescatarian, even though I eat red meat too. So let's say I'm having a 10-ounce piece of salmon. I'll throw that over a bed of arugula salad, avocado, because I want 17 grams of fiber, some low sugar berries, things like that. I try to take in, I'll probably eat 45-50 grams of fiber a day too. Then I'm going to take another walk. This is what I love doing in the spring and in the summertime, taking a late day walk, while it's still light out. I go back to, I walk along the Hudson River, which I love in New York. I just love it. I'll take a 45-minute walk too, which is great. And then when I get back from my walk, my wife is going to start walking too again, which I'm really happy about. She walks around 5:30 now. We'll make dinner, same thing, 60 grams of protein. I generally do, like if I had salmon for lunch, maybe I'll have chicken for dinner, or vice versa. And then I'll do 2 different colored vegetables for dinner, always. If I didn't have an arugula salad for lunch, I'll do arugula for dinner, and then I'll do something a different color like cauliflower. But I typically we'll do cauliflower, and then we'll do like string beans, or we'll do red beets and yellow squash. And if I want to up my carbs a little bit that day, I may do a sweet potato, and then I may do some broccoli. Always mixing up different vitamins, different minerals, different nutrients. And like I get, even though most of my calories probably come from fat, like I always like to say, I never chase fat, meaning that, I don't put butter on my steak. You could, but I don't want to increase my calories like that. All my fat comes from the whole natural foods I'm eating, like the salmon, the sardines, the avocados. And I do use a good amount of extra virgin olive oil, like the Mediterranean style of eating, on my salads, when I'm sauteing vegetables and things like that. And that's my schedule. I'm going to do it. I think I like the idea of thinking about intermittent fasting seasonally. Also, because it becomes more fun, right? And I do think there's a big difference when the season changes, how it affects your body. And I like the idea of going on different fasting schedules. It may take you a week or 2 to get used to it, but I think this makes a lot of sense for the spring and the summer. Or wherever you're living, when it stays light longer, I think you can eat a little bit later in the evening. But then if things change, if the seasons change and it's getting dark at like 4:30, 5 o'clock, but it's getting light much earlier in the morning, it probably really does make sense to take in more calories earlier in the day and then eating less in the evening. I think it really, really works. So I don't mean to, and I want to be really honest. I don't want to contradict myself. So I was really touting how important early time restricted eating is. But hey, it's good to change things up, and it's good to adjust things seasonally. I think there's a lot to it. I think this is going to get even more. I'm curious to see how this video does, if people are interested in this type of stuff. Okay, let's see what we got here. Hey, Facebook user. I wish I knew who you are, but thanks for showing up. If you want to drop your name, I'm not sure. I'm sure I know you. I'm just not sure where you're coming from. I think I'm posting this on Facebook in, I think, my course group, which is the low carb intermittent fasting group. So maybe that's, I'm not sure who that could be. Okay, so let's go over. I guess it might be a little bit short of the live stream today because of Easter, but let's give you some meals. You know, sometimes I don't remember even if I showed you these meals or not. You know, so let's see. Okay, let's go with I love intermittent fasting. Thanks for all the info on protein. Oh, sounds great. Yeah, protein's interesting. You know what I'm listening to now, which is really cool? I'm listening to, I talk about this guy all the time too. You know, 𝘾𝙊𝘼𝘾𝙃𝙄𝙉𝙂. He's a guy that I like as much as Andrew Huberman. 𝘾𝙊𝘼𝘾𝙃𝙄𝙉, he's a guy that's world-renowned expert on longevity. He's a Harvard doctor, and he just came out with his book called, now I can't even think the name of his book. It just came out maybe 2 weeks ago. I've been listening to an audio tape. It's 17 hours long. I'm listening to the nutrition chapter. There's a couple of chapters on nutrition, and I'm listening to that first. So it's going to be 17 hours. So I want to listen to the nutrition chapters a couple times before I move on to the chapters of the book. And he just was talking about protein so much. He just feels like it's the most important macronutrient when it comes to maintaining muscle mass, and there's such a correlation to muscle mass and longevity. And he's more in the camp that I am when it comes to eating this much protein. He may even be more than me. He really does like the idea of 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So if you're 180 pounds, he wants you to eat like 180 grams of protein. He really, you know, which is, I don't think you have to go quite that high, but I'm definitely, you know, thinking along the lines of him for sure when it comes to protein. You got to get your protein in. You really do. It's key. Protein. I always say protein. Keep an eye on calories, and also fiber. I like protein and fiber too, because if you're eating fiber, that means you're eating some vegetables and some fruits, and it's good for satiety, and you're getting all your nutrition, you know, which is great. Okay, let's go over. Let's show this one. We'll go with a typical one. I may have showed you this one before, but I seem to be, I don't know, I guess it's orange season near me. I've been getting like 4 oranges for $5, which I just love. So I've been throwing a lot of oranges in my salads lately. I always throw some type of fruit in my salad. So this particular salad, you can see, I don't know, must have at least 10 grams of salmon. So I'm getting my 60 grams of protein right there. I threw in some pistachio nuts too. I love pistachio nuts. I've been buying them like deshelled lately. They've been on sale too. Love them. Good fat profile of pistachio nut. Plus makes the salad really fun to eat. You can see here, I always eat an avocado every single day. Like an avocado has maybe 900 milligrams of potassium. The adequate intake of potassium is like 4,700 milligrams. Most people don't come close. So I eat an avocado every single day. I recommend you do as well. I shave some onions on there just to make it really flavorful. There's probably almost like, it's like no calories in a quarter of a shaved onion. But an onion has so much flavor to it. And then it's over a bed of arugula salad. Like I say, arugula is by far my favorite microgreen. You have to like that bitter taste. If you don't like arugula, go with like a spinach salad. And the reason why I like it so much is back to the nitric oxide. Arugula is one of the highest sources of natural nitrates, which convert to nitric oxide within the body. So 100 grams of arugula gives you on average of about 400 milligrams of nitrates. And that's what the research is showing. Like there's a lot of research on like sports supplements that increase nitric oxide, and like beet powder, you know, drinking beet juice. Beet juice is really high in nitrates too, but I don't want the calories. Like you can have, you know, for like 30 calories, 35 calories, 100 grams of arugula compared to drinking 140 calories of beet juice for the same amount of nitrates. You know, so I'm looking to get nitrates from good whole sources like leafy greens while keeping calories down. And research has shown if you're 150 pounds, if you take in 400 milligrams of nitrates, it's going to improve exercise performance. It definitely does for me. I just feel better. You know, my good blood flow. I think it's great. Let's see. Maybe that's me. Oh, that's Susan. Hey, Sue, how you doing? Oh, you know, Sue, you said you were going to email me. I never got an email from you. Okay. Unless it went to my junk file. I'll look for it. But happy Easter. Let's see. Alexandra, let's see. Okay, I'm 153 pounds now, and I want to reach 130. So is 0.7 grams of protein per pound calculation based on your current weight or your goal weight, your objective weight? In your case, I would go with your normal weight of 153. You know, the reason is that I know it seems like a lot of weight, 17 pounds, but I would go at 153. But if you were telling me, and I know this is not you, let's say you're a guy who asked a question who's 300 pounds, and his goal is to weigh 200 pounds, I would probably maybe want him to, go maybe something in the middle. Like I don't think he necessarily has to eat like, 250 grams of protein. I would say maybe take 250 and times that by 0.7. I would want you to eat, let's do it right now for you, Alexandra. I got my calculator right here. Let's go. I'm going to go 150 times 0.7. Let me see what that comes up to me. Yeah, 105. I think that's about right. I'd probably want you to go with 100, about at least 100 grams of protein for the day. You can go more too if you wanted to. But I think that would be good for you, about 100, 105, 110 grams of protein a day, for sure. Okay, let's see. So we get that meal down. That's a great meal. And I do variations of this all the time. This is my go-to lunch. And what I like about this too, sometimes the fish, it could be a leftover from the night before. But I always keep my, you'll see my sardines. I always keep cans of sardines in the house too. Oh, this is what I want to point out too. People are always asking me for dinners. I didn't do the 2 vegetables, but it shows how much protein I eat. This is like well over. This must have been 1.25 pounds of protein. So I guess I'm breaking my rule a little bit, Alexandria. Here, I must have taken 100 grams of protein right here. But I forget what day this was. Maybe it was a lower protein day for me. Maybe I feel like I didn't take in enough protein, for lunch, and maybe I missed my protein shake for the day. But that's a big piece of flounder. And I'm not showing the picture because I didn't take a picture of it. I had 2 different colored vegetables along with the flounder. So I'm always prioritizing protein. Okay, so Susa, you did. Oh, so you did. Okay, so you did send me an email. I'll find that email. It must have went in my junk folder and I just missed it or something. Okay, so let's go with another one here. I may have showed this before. I've been eating a lot of eggs lately too for lunch. See, I try to keep lunch like really simple. I always keep, in the refrigerator, like my arugula salads. I bought those big bins of arugula. I always keep sardines. I always keep eggs. I always keep avocados. I always keep blueberries, raspberries. Now lately I've been buying some oranges. This was a real treat for me. I generally don't have bacon, but every now and then I just absolutely love it. And I'm assuming the bacon may have been on sale. I think that's Boar's Head bacon, which is a good quality bacon that was on sale that particular day. And I even think I put some fresh mozzarella cheese underneath that omelet with a little bit of tomato. So I try to keep it really simple. Like I always say that it's nice to have certain things in your home so you never want to get caught. And what I mean by getting caught is you never want to come home hungry and not know what you're going to make or what you're going to have, because then you're going to make a bad choice. So I always have my staples that I always keep in the house. Like I said, eggs and I have the leftover from the dinner before, cans of sardines. I always have the arugula. I never want to really go for something bad. And you know me, like I say, trigger foods for me are potato chips. So I don't want to keep potato chips in the house unless it's like my birthday or something. Same thing with you. You should know what your trigger foods are. Keep them out of the house maybe once or twice a year. I'm sure today at Easter, if my brother has some potato chips at his house, I'm sure he'll eat some potato chips. But like I said, I walked this morning. I'm going to do an OMAD. Maybe I'll eat this protein bar on the way over to his house. I may not even, so I'm going to go there. I'm already in a nice calorie deficit for today. So this is 4 pasture-raised eggs. And I think that's important, unfortunately, when it comes to the eggs. Even when it just says organic or free range, really may not be good enough. If you want a good omega-3 profile, you want those chickens or hens, I don't know what you call them, pasture-raised, just eating the grass. The omega-3 profile is really important. And that's another thing when it comes to fats. I do try to eat a high omega-3 diet, good for your brain health. Omega-3s are those good oils. Those are just like essential amino acids. They're essential fatty acids. You want to eat most of your fats. In my opinion, I like monounsaturated fat, which is olive oil. Even though olive oil has everything in it, but I eat a lot of fish, a lot of salmon that are high in omega-3s. Even those pasture-raised eggs are high in omega-3s. Even grass-finished meat will be higher in omega-3s. Good for reducing inflammation, good for brain health, good for so many different things. You want your ratio of omega-3s to 6s to be in line. A lot of people unfortunately eat a lot of seed oils and things like that, and their omega-6s get really high. It's somewhat debatable, but a lot of people feel it's bad for inflammation, things like that, and leads to like bad things happening to the body. Okay, can you recommend a good protein bar? Sure, I got one right here, which I just showed before. This is the No Cow. If you're a vegetarian or vegan, I love this, the No Cow bar. The reason why I like this one so much is because it has 21 grams of protein, 200 calories. It has, let me change it, and then I'll talk about the other one I like. Maybe you can see it a little bit better. I don't know if you can see all the ingredients here. This is 200 calories, 20 grams of protein, but the cool thing about it is that it's 15 grams of fiber. 26 grams of carbohydrates, but the net carbs are very low in the bar. I mean, how do you figure out net carbs? You take total carbohydrates, you minus fiber. That gives you the net carbs. So it's not going to give you a big spike in blood sugar. The only negative thing about these bars, and I talked about it last time, oh, that's really interesting. They kind of reduce the sugar alcohol. This one has a little bit less than the other one. This only has 6 grams. I've seen them high as like 8 or 9. You know, we talked about this last time. That study came out a few weeks ago. I may be pronouncing it wrong. Erythritol, you know, sugar alcohol, that they're linking it to increased risks of blood clotting, things like that. But that's really more if you're predisposed to it. And then and also the study was talking about amounts of like 30 grams. Like this bar has 6, so I think you're going to start seeing them coming down in a lot of these supplements. So I do like this a lot. The other one I like is Quest, which is a very similar profile. The only difference between Quest is that the protein source is a whey protein, concentrate and isolate. This is a vegetarian bar, which is pea and brown rice, which is also a complete protein. So I would say go with any like relatively low carb, complete protein bar, and always keep an eye on calories. I wouldn't go much above 210, 220 calories when it comes to a protein bar, unless you're doing it as a meal replacement. You know, and also if you're not used to eating this much fiber, like 15 grams of fiber, you may want to start off with just eating half the bar. All right, like don't do 30 grams of fiber. It could mess you up a little bit. So like I said, this is like a perfect meal, I think. 4 pasture-raised eggs, which is going to give you about 6-7 grams of protein per egg. So that's that's 28 grams of protein there. You get maybe, I don't know, maybe another 3-4 grams from, maybe 5 grams from the bacon. That brings me up to maybe 30 grams of protein. Knowing myself, I didn't show it. If I only make a meal that has 30 grams of protein, I probably supplemented this meal with a Greek yogurt. I can't remember, but I know myself. I'm sure I did. I probably had like a 5% Greek yogurt. I love the 5%, even though it has some of the fat in it, which is 140 calories, 15 grams of protein, which would bring this meal up to 45 grams of protein. And you even get a teeny bit of protein in just like, you know, in an avocado, next to nothing, but a little bit. So maybe I probably was somewhat close to 40 grams of protein for this meal with the Greek yogurt. But super high in fiber, 17 grams of fiber, 900 milligrams of potassium. I think this is a great meal. I do. And I may even, sometimes when I do the Greek yogurt, I may do a shot glass full of flaxseed on top, a little bit more protein, a little bit more fiber. I may have thrown some raspberries if I had blueberries in the Greek yogurt too. But I do it a lot. Like if I feel my meal's a little bit low on protein, I'll always have like a Greek yogurt for dessert. And that's another staple that I always keep in the house. And they've been on sale too. I've been getting like 5 Greek yogurts for like $4, which I love. Sometimes they could be at $2 for a Greek yogurt. Let's see. RNJ, hey, thanks for showing up, Madden, again. Okay, hey, Mike. I'm kind of at a crossroad, okay? I weigh 181, 182. Been floating at that for a few weeks, even at a deficit. Been tracking calories. Weighing my food, 6'2", 181. Yeah, I remember last week. Weighed in today at 6'2". Weighed in today, 21-year male. You know what? Like I wonder, Madden. I wonder if you should. I may have said this last week. I'm not sure if I did. If you've been really floating for weeks and you're in a deficit and you're not losing weight, I know you're a workout person too, and you're a young guy, I probably would. I think it's probably time for a diet break for you. I know you may not want to hear it, but I probably would take 2 weeks off and up your calories. Maybe eat 500 calories more. Eat super healthy. You know, maybe. You know, maybe, I don't know if you're doing any type of intermittent fasting, whatever. Maybe not. Maybe go breakfast, lunch, dinner. Jumpstart your metabolism a little bit. Now, the more you eat, it's gonna boost your metabolism. Really go high on protein. Should I go on maintenance? Yeah, that's your next question. Yeah, I think I would. I would go to maintenance. You know, my general rule is you multiply your body weight by 15. If you don't really want to go that high, eat 500 calories more a day. You know, make sure you're eating your protein. Enjoy yourself for a couple of weeks, and then start up again. I know, and the science is a little bit mixed on this. There is that one study that I talked about in the past that says, no, this does work, where they took participants after 6 weeks. They went to maintenance calories for 2 weeks, was the other group didn't. And over the long run, the people who went to maintenance calories did better. You know, they lost more body fat. They were able to maintain the weight loss. You know, you could be in a little bit of that metabolic adaptation, like over-exaggerated, but from being in a deficit for too long. But you're so young and you're fit and everything. I think a 2 week 2 week diet break, could be great. You could reverse diet it. I don't know if I would do that. I mean, you just like eat 100 calories more a day and ease your way into it. I just would go right to maintenance for 2 weeks. And you're going to enjoy yourself too. Don't, drink beer and go crazy or anything like that. But, eat some more. Have some sweet potatoes maybe, eat some good sources of protein. Enjoy yourself a couple of weeks and then go back into the deficit. That's probably what I would do. That's probably what I recommend for you. All right, let's see what we got next. I think I got some couple other ideas here. I'm going to give you too many meals. Yeah, I love this meal. This is like a classic meal that I do all the time too. So I have my can of sardines, right? 21 grams of protein. Yeah, and you know why I like sardines so much? I do think they're superfoods because you're eating the skin and the bones inside the sardines, so you're getting calcium, you're getting the connective tissue, which is so good. That's why some people feel, and you know who talks about this? I love his diet too. I think it's Dr. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. I get people's names. Well, Ted Needleman is called the PE diet. It's a great book. He even illustrated the whole book. I'm really on the same page with him when it comes to nutrition and eating as well. He thinks that like chopped meat is probably better than eating just a steak because when you're eating chopped meat, they kind of grind everything up. So you're getting like the tongue, you're getting connective tissue and everything in the chopped meat. So it's a little bit more of a full spectrum type protein as opposed to just eating a steak, which is really interesting. And that's one of the reasons why I love sardines so much. Not only are you getting the protein, the high omega-3s, those essential fatty acids, you're getting the skin and you're getting the bones for calcium as well too. Hey, Hamid here. Hey, Mike, glad to catch your live stream. Oh, yeah, thanks so much for showing up. That's great. So I'm glad. I didn't think with Easter, I didn't think a lot of people would be showing up. So this is great. This is cool. So we get the sardines, right? Now, once again, 21 grams of protein is not enough for me. So it's kind of hard to see because this is one of those, like, once again, monster Italian plates. I have at least 4 or 5 ounces of this is probably leftover, like Arctic chard from the night before, which are going to give me another like 30, maybe 35, even 40 grams of protein there. So it just bumps this meal up to like 50 grams of protein or more. Then I didn't do a whole arugula salad. I think I was having arugula. My wife wanted to have it for dinner. So I just wanted a little bit. Put the salmon over some arugula. Let me see. I think we got another question from NRG, man. Let's see, man. Okay. I've had this happen before. I take the break. What happened before is I stayed in the deficit for about 3 to 4 weeks and randomly lost 3 pounds. My metabolism, the doctor, cortisol, sodium, water. So if I understand this right, so you've done a diet break before in the past and it has worked for you. Is that what you're saying? I think that's what this is, which I love. I think that's great. I do. And let's see what Hamid. Okay, I'm sure you went over this, but is there a diet where you... Okay, I'm sure you went over this, but is there a diet we can follow without counting calories and losing weight? I'm sure intermittent fasting would play a huge role. Yeah, it's interesting because most of my earlier videos, when I started doing all these videos, it's interesting. When I started the YouTube channel, I really wanted it to be, and I still think it is, just a general like healthy lifestyle channel. And I kind of get, even though there's a lot of young people here, since I'm older, I'm 60, I started doing it really seriously maybe 5 years ago. I figured maybe if people 40 and over who want to learn how to work out, learn how to eat right, learn how to maintain good optimal, body weight, optimal body fat levels. And I started doing general things like that. And then all of a sudden, it seems it's so confusing, YouTube, with the algorithm. Like, it seems like I'm known now, my channel is known more for intermittent fasting than almost anything else. So when I first started doing my intermittent fasting videos, that was the general approach I took, is that I always felt that since I worked with thousands of people, I opened my first gym in 1989. I've only worked in gyms, from the age of 16. The hardest and most frustrating thing for me has always been, how do we get people to eat less? Because, I get them for an hour in the gym. They're going to get a good workout. I create the response, but then they go home and, you can blow that the calories in a workout. You eat 2 slices of pizza or a can of soda. You just ruin the whole workout to some degree, right? So I always found that intermittent fasting was by far the best and easiest way to get people to eat less. So you're right on with that comment, Hamid. I mean, I think that's why I love 2MAD, 2 meals a day with a protein shake. You can even get rid of intermittent fasting. Just say I'm eating 2 meals a day with a protein shake. 90% of the people will be in a calorie deficit doing that. Then if you want to go further, say you're going to give yourself an 8 or 6 hour eating window, like 18-6, 16-8. 90% of the people will be in a calorie deficit. But I just did release a video actually this week. It did so talking about if you are intermittent fasting and you're not losing weight, and that's your goal for intermittent fasting, you're not doing it just for autophagy and just for health, you're just eating too much and you have to start counting calories. So I would say that for sure, Hamid. I think I would pick a a schedule that worked for you. I would probably start with 16-8. I wouldn't graze and just eat like every 2 hours within your 8-hour eating window. I love that idea of 2 meals with a protein bar, protein shake, and I would say you're going to be in a calorie deficit, I think. And I've even when you look at some of the studies, like there's one study that I always reference, and because it's such a simple study, and it's a study that like if I have someone who's like really new to intermittent fasting or time restricted eating, I would start them on something like this, where all they do is that I would tell them to eat breakfast 90 minutes later and then eat dinner 90 minutes earlier. And people did that, and 67% of the people who did that, just delayed breakfast and ate dinner earlier, consumed like 500 less calories a day. It seems like that's what happens. But when I do videos like this, when I do talk about this, I do get the occasional comment saying that, Mike, that doesn't work for me. I can eat 4,000 calories in a 6-hour eating window. I think some people can, but I think most people will be in a deficit for sure. Let's see. Hey, thanks for showing up. Greetings. What food options would you suggest to a vegetarian who is following 2 meals plus a protein bar? It's interesting because my brother's a vegetarian. I'm going to his house today. My front door just opened. Give me 1 second, guys. I want to see if maybe my wife got locked out. Is that you, Rose? Yeah, I'm on the live stream. What do you go for? He's on the live streaming. I know, but yes. Sorry guys, that's my wife. She went out for a walk. She got locked out. Maybe I locked her out. It's probably my fault. Yeah, okay. So first of all, for sure, when it comes to like a vegetarian, not a vegan, so I'm assuming you're a vegetarian. So if you're a vegetarian, definitely eggs. Those pasture-raised eggs, like the Greek yogurt. I think it's great. I would definitely supplement your diet with plant-based protein bars like this, like the no cow protein bar. This is actually a vegan bar. And protein powders like a hemp seed or pea protein, those complete protein powders. You can even do, like I talked about earlier, these essential amino acid supplements, because these are actually plant-based. They derive fermented from plants. The only negative thing, and I don't want to talk anyone out of being a vegetarian. I'm sure you're happy with it and you're doing it because it's good for you. Is just to make is that protein leverage hypothesis, which I talked about before. Researchers, I think they're based out of, I don't know, I always get this wrong. I think Australia or New Zealand, who I really love this protein leverage hypothesis. They talk about how most people will keep on eating until they reach their protein requirement for the day. So for example, let's say your body, like your Alexandria, you need 100 grams of protein a day. If you're eating foods that are low in protein and high in calories, you're going to just be overeating. That's what I find is the most difficult thing for vegetarians and vegans, is taking in enough protein without overdoing their calories. That's why I would supplement your diet with some protein powders or protein, plant-based protein bars. Like for example, if you're trying to get all your protein from like rice and beans or from sources where the calorie is high and the quality of protein is low, unless you're a vegetarian or vegan who doesn't think like I do and doesn't feel like they need that much protein. A lot of people don't want that constant mTOR spike. They're concerned that the bad things are going to grow within their body, like more like a Volta Longo, like the longevity diet, where they believe in more of a low protein approach in general. Like they only want 50 grams of protein for the day. Then I think you can stick with more of a vegetarian vegan type diet while keeping calories low. But if you want to get, if you're a 150-pound guy and you want like 130, 140 grams of protein, I would supplement your diet. I would definitely go with the pasture-raised eggs, the Greek yogurt. I know there's soy and things like that where you can get some complete protein there too. But just keep an eye on calories for the amount of protein you need. Same thing with nutrient deficiencies, like not getting enough potassium, magnesium, not getting enough vitamins, minerals, and nutrients. That's why another reason why I don't like to go into an aggressive calorie deficit for extended periods of time. That's why it's good to take a diet break, because sometimes you just become nutrient deficient. And I always find this too. It's interesting. One of my clients was talking about this, And just from following so many different people who are vegetarians, even carnivore people, they seem to get away with it for a few years, 2-3 years, and all of a sudden things start going wrong. Like one of my clients, who's a vegetarian, they just got their blood work back and they were really low on B12, even though they were taking some supplements. They were really low on iron. They're anemic, they're getting exhausted, and they've been a vegetarian now for like close to 3 years. They loved it, and actually this person's lost weight and did really great. But, so what I recommended to them is, first of all, start cooking in a cast iron skillet, which is really good because the cast iron, actually the iron actually goes into the food. And I wanted her to start taking like a more B12, and I really wanted to try to talk her into just eating a little bit of animal protein. So try to eat just 2 ounces of red meat, a day, something like that, until you get until you get your iron levels up. But hey, what could you do? Let's see. Hey, Darlene. Hubby likes me. Yeah, I know. It's pretty funny. I know. I guess maybe us men are crazy, right? How do you have the willpower to stick to a diet? That's the hardest part. It's interesting. Sometimes I talked about this. I have a couple of people that started with me this week. Some new people. One person is kind of a famous guy too. I can't say who he is. He's on TV and everything. And I was trying to come up with a way to keep them motivated and leveraged. So I say everyone has their thing that's going to keep them motivated. Like I find I've trained a lot of women who are getting married, right? They're so motivated and so leveraged. They're getting married in 6 months. They want to wear a particular dress. They want to look amazing for the wedding. I've trained women whose daughters are getting married, or the kids are having bar mitzvah and they want to look amazing for this big event or something like that. Like I've trained actors and who are going to the Oscars, who have to look incredibly good. I find men a lot of times what keeps them motivated is they go to the doctor, right? Their cholesterol is high, their blood pressure is high, they just turned 40. The doctor said, hey, we're going to put you on statins, we're going to put you on blood pressure medications. You got 3 months, to lose 20-25 pounds. You got 6 months, or else I'm putting you on all the medicine. That could be motivating. I would say try to find something within your life that's going to keep you motivated as a daily reminder. Even if you put a little sign on, like take an index card and put it on your mirror when you're shaving in the morning, or keep it in the car on the visor. A constant reminder of what's going to leverage you. That's why, for example, if you look at the show like The Biggest Loser, even though I really did not like that show, I thought it was somewhat degrading and all that. I didn't like the whole philosophy of extremely low calorie diets and brutal exercise. I mean, it was crazy. But but I always felt one of the reasons why those participants did so well, they would lose 30 pounds, right? In 2 weeks. There's some crazy numbers of that. They were so leveraged. They were on national TV. Millions of people are watching them. Imagine if they show, on the show and they didn't lose weight, they would be embarrassed, blah, blah, blah. They just were so leveraged. They were so motivated. And it's different for everyone. You got to find something in your life. It could be things like, if you're an older person, you say, oh, you want to be around in your 70s to play with your grandkids. It could be whatever it is. It's key, though. And then take that, come up with a 1-sentence statement or maybe 3 words, paste it on the mirror when you're shaving in the morning. Keep it as a daily reminder to keep you motivated. And also, whatever you decide to do, it can't be too extreme that you're not going to do it. That's the thing that I talked the 90% rule. You have to be 90% confident that you're able to do it, or don't make it that difficult. So if you feel like you just, well, let me see, what's the next thing is, do you have suggestions for increasing willpower? Because I love palatable, right, foods that are considered junk. Yeah, first of all, like I said, keep the trigger foods out of the house. That's for sure. Like I say myself, I have a lot of willpower. I'm very disciplined, but I cannot keep bags of potato chips in the house because I'm going to eat them. And I substitute. I love dark chocolate. Sometimes I eat too much dark chocolate, but that's always in my house. That's a staple for me too. But I think dark chocolate is actually good for you, high magnesium, high in fiber. But there's certain foods I won't keep in, eat other things too. I love pasta. But we so rarely make pasta. But if I have pasta just once, I went to an Italian restaurant actually this week. I had eggplant parmesan, which I love. I had a little bit of pasta. Luckily, I went out to a restaurant and had that, because if I made it and there was more in the house, I want to eat that every day. So you have to just keep those foods out of the house. Let's see, Alexandra. Would taking a protein shake alongside salad meals be more filling? You know, it really could be. I think that's a fine thing to do. It's interesting because there's one study that came out not that long ago talking about doing that and how it's really good for protein synthesis. And I think they were talking about more taking a branched chain amino acid supplement, you know, along with the meal, just to increase the amount of leucine, which is good for protein synthesis. I think that's good. Definitely, if it's like me eating my Greek yogurt when I'm having just a small portion of protein, it's just gonna give, you know, it pops me up to like 50 grams, you know, which is great. What do you think about bread? Oh, Mike, what do you think about bread? I love bread. I just don't want, you know, the calories that often. But I think it's fine. Like if there are times when, like I talked about this last week when we talked about like the Frank Zane diet, where he would, you know, eat lower calories. Like say you're eating like 2,200 calories for 3 days, but on the fourth day you increase your carbohydrates, maybe 400 or 500 calories. You calorie cycle or maybe carb cycle. I think for things like that, having, you know, an extra few hundred calories in bread is fine. It's a very clean, short source of carbohydrates. It's almost like just taking in sugar. And if you love it, I think it's great. But that's something for me, like I grew up and in my 20s and 30s, I always had bread, like with every dinner. I love Italian bread. I love that Arthur Avenue Italian bread. I absolutely love it. I love avocado toast. You know, when you take some nice Italian bread, you put some avocado or take some guacamole on it. I just personally don't keep that in the house because I just don't want the calories and somewhat empty calories. What I do keep though now and then is those, and I showed it once I think in one of my videos, is I take those little like strips. They're baked. I don't know if I would use the term crackers, but they're baked Italian like maybe crackers, and they have rosemary and a little bit of sea salt on them, incredibly low in calories. Sometimes I just have maybe 2 or 3 strips of those, which will be like 20 calories, you know, but I do find it really satisfying, things like that. But nothing wrong with bread. If I do eat bread, I had a little bit last night, it'll be like that Arthur Avenue bread. So you look at the ingredients like salt, yeast, flour, like really simple, maybe 4 ingredients, like the old-fashioned way of making bread. Sourdough bread, it has a low, if it's made like traditional way, like the right way, it has a lower glycemic index, won't spike blood sugar as much. So if you like sourdough bread, which I do like, I just try to minimize it. You know, that's another one of those trigger foods for me too. I can, you know, if there was like Italian bread in the house, I'd be eating it all the time. But I love like a little olive oil on Italian bread, extra virgin olive oil on Italian bread. I absolutely love it. Let's see. Okay. Know your why. Mine is just good. Oh, that's good. Know your why. I like that. No, mine is just good health, feeling good energy. I'm 53. That sounds good. No, I love it. Yeah, know your why. I read that book, Why. I forget what marketing I wrote that book. That was a good book. Know your why. Mine is just good health. I think it's great. That's a great thing you can write on your mirror. You know, optimal health, and you just keep that right on your mirror when you shave, or when you put your makeup on or whatever in the morning, or just, you know, when you wash up, keep it in the car. Optimal health. You know. Or longevity, like that, you know, that's another really good one. Okay, so back to the meal. So we got the 2 protein sources, high in omega-3s, high in complete protein. Then I must have made stewed tomatoes the night before. I love stewed tomatoes. I remove the seeds all the time when I make it. So extra virgin olive oil, just cut up some tomatoes, throw them in a pot. I love that. Good for prostate health too, right? Is that lipo? I forget how to pronounce that. Okay. Sometimes when I tell someone something, I find that I have to do what I said. No, true. I think that's a good thing too. Like you kind of put yourself out there in a way. Like you say you're going to do it. I've used that approach with people too, that I do think it's a good idea. Like when you start an exercise and diet program, to just tell everyone, because you're kind of like, you almost have to do it, right? If you start telling everyone, yeah, you know, I started working out, you know, I started this intermittent fasting and eating healthy. I'm like, you know, my goal is to lose 20 pounds in 3 months, and you just tell everybody, it's good because it somewhat keeps yourself accountable. That's half of like pretty much what I do with fitness training, personal training, is really the accountability. It's not like I'm talking about things that no one knows about. I have my own approach, obviously, but most of it, really, a good percentage of it, why people do so well with me, is just accountability. Like I have this 1 month coaching program I charge. It's pretty expensive, where I talk to people every single day. And the main thing is the accountability more than anything. That's why people do so well. I text and do video calls with them almost every day. And everyone who does it does incredibly well. It's pretty cool, especially a girl like XD. I don't even know what XD is. I like XD. Okay, let's see. Okay, so back to the meal. So I got my stewed tomatoes. Once again, the oranges have been on sale. Oranges, high. People say, "Oh, Mike, what do you mean high in fructose, high in sugar?" Hey, one orange. How many calories is one orange? And it's high in vitamin C, high in fiber. I love it. And I got my avocado. This is just I think just a perfect meal. Could be lunch, could be dinner. For me, this is probably typically more of a lunch type meal, as opposed to a dinner. I think that's all I pulled when it came to the All right, okay, hey, well, this was great. I really appreciate everyone showing up on Easter. Let me see, how long have I been going? I'm going to probably, sometimes I go 90 minutes, but since it's Easter and I got some things going on today, I'm probably going to end it pretty soon. But let's see, any other questions, though, before I go on anything? Also, any topics you'd like me to cover next week? Anything like that, let me know. I'll give you a couple minutes. I know there's always like a little bit of a delay. I'm really excited for me to see everybody. It's interesting, even, this pandemic, I have to say, I used to see my parents every single week, every Wednesday. And ever since the pandemic, I haven't been seeing them anywhere near as much. I'm looking forward to seeing them today. I hope they start coming over my house. I used to have dinner with my parents every Wednesday. I hope that starts up again real soon. And it seems like this pandemic thing pretty much is over. It seems like everything is really wound down. Even though the gym, still hard. People are canceling on me a lot on the gym, but hey, just how it is. But I'm enjoying. Also, keep in mind, guys and gals, everyone I do 1 hour consults online. How it works is that you sign up. You can go to my website, 𝘾𝙊𝘾𝙃𝙄𝙉𝙂. You click the link. You pick a time that fits in your schedule. You answer these 10 questions, and then before we do the 1 hour video call, I kind of know where you're at, what you're looking for. And I try it's not inexpensive though. It's $250, but a lot of time goes into it because I read the questions ahead of time. We do the 1 hour call, and it always takes me a couple hours just to write up a whole routine for you, like a diet and workout program. I have my 1 month coaching, which is expensive. It is $1,500 for the month, but it's life changing. I mean, you will reach any goal you want to when it comes to weight loss and fitness, things like that. And then I still have my course, my 1 hour. I mean, my intermittent fasting video course. But I don't think anyone here would really benefit too much from that, because that's really if you're really a beginner, which incorporates intermittent fasting and time restricted eating. It's $97. So keep that, just keep that stuff in mind. Okay, here's Beth. Idea for next week: doing intermittent fasting, restricted eating on a night shift schedule. Oh, that night shift schedule, that would be interesting too. Also, how to balance fasting with workouts such as martial arts and Mike. That sounds pretty good. I like that, Biff. That sounds like a pretty good one. Okay. I'm following a routine where I'm walking 10,000 steps a day. Love that. Strength training consistently 3 to 4 times a week. Only problem is my diet, but I'm doing intermittent fasting, eating high protein. I think you'll do great, him. And you mean stay with it. Stay with it. I mean, even just 100 calories a day is 10 pounds a year, which is kind of crazy when you look at the math, right? 100 calories. Sometimes if you're doing everything else right, you're walking, you're working out, you might, and I know, like we said, intermittent fasting, you're probably in a calorie deficit, but maybe you should track everything for a couple of weeks. Use MyFitnessPal and just make sure you're eating enough protein and your calories are in line. That can only help. Let's see. Should I keep intermittent fasting 16-8 on a lean bulk too? I think you can. I mean, I love the 16-8. There is benefits to being in a fasted state for 16 hours, like the autophagy and keeping insulin levels low. And even if you want to gain some weight and muscle up, just make sure you're taking enough calories, enough protein within the 8-hour eating window. I like it. I think 8 hours is enough. You can definitely do a nice lean bulk on that for sure. Thank you so much. You're awesome. Thanks so much for showing up. Carnivore diet. I think it's a great elimination diet. I think it's good if you got some autoimmune type things going on and whatever. I think for me, I've experimented with it. I think it's a good short-term thing to do. For a week or two, you want to maybe get into ketosis, maybe has some things going on with your health. You just wanted to eliminate some things from your diet. But even Paul Saladino, who wrote the book, The Carnivore Code, I follow a lot of his stuff. I find him an entertaining guy, and he's a knowledgeable guy. I think he has 2 different medical degrees. Even on the carnivore diet, he eats fruit now. But he surfs 2 hours a day. He lives in Costa Rica. So I think it's a good short-term diet. I've done that. I know Joe Rogan did it, where you just eat animal protein or fruit for a couple of weeks. I like it, but to me, I don't think I'd enjoy my life if I was only eating animal protein for indefinitely. And similar to vegetarians and vegans and people who do somewhat extreme things, you can get away with it for a while. But I know Paul Saladino talked about how he was having electrolyte issues. Like he wasn't getting his I'm assuming he meant potassium and things like that. Just only eating meat, even though he's eating the organ meats, which are high. Like you have to eat organ meats if you're only going to do meat because it's high in vitamin C, liver, things like that. It's hard to get, I think, everything. I do think we've evolved to eat like vegetables, and I do think eating some fruits, I do think it's good. I'm a big believer in fiber, even though if I had a debate like a guy like Paul Saladino, I'm sure he's a lot smarter than me, and he would out debate me. But I think fiber is important, for sure. So carnivore with fruits. My problem is muscles glycogen won't fill up with fruits because the fructose and goes to liver. Yeah, but but even fruits, I do agree with that, because what Hamid is saying is that, which he's correct, that fructose goes directly to the liver. It doesn't give you that insulin spike, and it's processed in the liver, and you can overwhelm the liver if you're eating too much fructose. But fruits are generally, 50-50, 70-30, like table sugars, half fructose, half glucose. Like you don't want high fructose corn syrup, but I wouldn't be too concerned about the fructose in fruits, unless you're just like pounding it, you know what I mean? Like eating like bowls and bowls and bowls of like mixed fruits, like pineapples and high sugar type fruits. But I think you can have 2 fruits a day easily. No problem at all, especially if you're eating the type of fruit that I like. And even a tomato's a fruit and avocado's a fruit, right? If you're eating like blueberries and raspberries and blackberries and, an orange now and then. And it seems like apples, for some reason, have like spike insulin like a lot. I just watched spikes blood sugar. I watch a lot of those guys. There's a couple of different guys who do this, who wear the 24-hour glucose monitor, then they eat food and they shoot, oh my god, this spikes my blood sugar, this doesn't. And this guy did one where he did a red apple, and a red apple gave him a tremendous blood sugar spike. Then the next day he did it with a green apple, and it was like half. It's so bizarre. That's why, and actually Peter Attia even talks about it in his book, how it's probably a good thing if all of us would wear like a 24-hour blood glucose monitor, and then 8 different foods, and just to see how your individual body responds to different foods you eat. Like, you can eat an apple and you get a tremendous spike in blood glucose, whereas your partner, your wife, your husband can eat that same apple and not. It's individual. Who else talked about that with Wired to Heat, which is Ron, the paleo guy. What's it? I forget his name. Is that Ron Wood, I think, maybe? Let's see. Okay, so yeah, liver can hold 100 grams of sugar. Yeah. Okay. That question was more directed towards getting carb sources to fill. I understand, to fill up muscle glycogen, yeah, which is more than 300 grams, I think, sure. Just so I get better workouts and build muscle strength. No, true. That's true. I mean, you can time it too, Like to say, yeah, you want to fill up the muscle with glycogen, then you want to deplete it. You just don't want it to be overfull. Okay. All right, so I appreciate everyone showing up. This was really great. Have a wonderful Easter. Enjoy time with your family and friends. If you're not going to get together with anyone, give your loved ones a call today if you're not going to see them. So that sounds great. Okay, take care, everyone. Have a wonderful time, and I will see you. Let's see. Some carb sources do recommend. Yeah, I agree. I'm looking forward to seeing everyone next Sunday. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful Easter. Thanks again for showing up. Sorry to cut everybody off. I just got so much going on today. Take care.